I'm probably not the only person who saw this coming, and yet somehow I'm absolutely disgusted by the complete abuse of power. But before we get into that, let's first dive into what old Joe just did. For those of you who may not know, this is Hunter Biden, a crack-smoking, money-laundering, Congress-ditching dirtball, an absolute menace to society who relied on daddy to carry him through adulthood, if you call it that. Hunter Biden was an American disgrace, a textbook degenerate. Yet, for whatever reason, he's worth more than you or I, certainly in front of the law. Joe Biden campaigned on restoring the independence of the Judicial Department, the DOJ. He tirelessly painted Trump as the villain who brought politics into the rule of law. Remember that during his first term. Folks, Biden used this completely insincere rhetoric to get elected, plain and simple. Biden also spent the better part of his presidency defending his son from public scrutiny after all that laptop information came out. Unfortunately for Hunter, he spent the majority of his adult life committing crimes. There was only so much that daddy could do. Joe desperately and repeatedly told the American people that he would not pardon Hunter under any circumstances. Nobody is above the law, Joe said over and over and over again. In fact, his decision to hold his son accountable might have been the only thing he did right as president up until the very end. Of course, that now is all out the window. We're 2 days into the month of December. Hunter was set to be sentenced 10 days from today for his crimes, his conviction on federal gun charges. 4 days later, a second Hunter Biden sentencing was on the calendar, this one for a separate criminal case that saw Hunter Biden plead guilty to federal tax evasion charges in September. Old Joe took the law into his own hands yet again. The official statement reads, and I quote, "The president issued a full and unconditional pardon for any offenses Hunter Biden has committed or may have committed." That's big. Even stuff we don't even know about or taken part in during the period from January 1st, 2014 through December 1st, 2024, a full 11 years. Well, good luck defending this one, Democrats. There are so many instances of the White House absolutely insisting that Hunter Biden would be treated like any other offender in America. Every single person who took part in lying to the American people should be held accountable. Joe Biden's puppet, Karine Jean-Pierre, played a major role in this big hoax, the great hoax. In case you forgot, here's a few examples, just a few tiny examples of how she, KJP, answered on behalf of the president when asked if Hunter would be pardoned.
The president would not pardon or commute the sentences for his son, Hunter. I just want to make sure that that is not going to change over the next 6 months. The president's saying he would not.
It's still a no. It's still a no.
It will always be a no.
It's still a no. It will be a no. It is a no, and I don't have anything else to add. Will he pardon his son? No.
Hey, let me go back to the first question of the briefing. I know you said not a lot's changed since yesterday and that it's a personal matter, but from a presidential perspective, is there any possibility that the president would end up pardoning his son?
No.
Yeah, I could have made that montage of clips 10 minutes long or longer, but you get the point. I think you get the point. In a different life, Joe Biden made a name for himself as a hard-working senator, hard-on-drugs senator, someone who had zero tolerance for illegal immigration and illegal substances and wanted a minimum of 5 years jail time for any offender, drug offender. Let's remind ourselves about Joe's prior stances. And while you listen, enjoy the added clip of his son, Hunter, smoking crack.
If you have a piece of crack cocaine no bigger than this quarter that I'm holding in my hand, $1/4 of $1. We passed a law through the leadership of Senator Thurmond and myself and others, a law that says if you're caught with that, you go to jail for 5 years. You get no probation. You get nothing other than 5 years in jail. Judge doesn't have a choice.
So we just did a little side-by-side, you can see, because Joe at one point was very, very hard on drug offenders. go to jail. You go to 5 years in jail, a bill that he sponsored side by side to pictures of Hunter Biden from his laptop smoking crack. It's incredible. You can rule out AI, folks. Hunter Biden has been smoking crack since the days of flip phones. What's even more sad about this whole situation is that Hunter Biden's life of crime goes far beyond the charges that he's now being cleared of. Well, cleared of or commuted of, not commuted. When you commute a sentence, they remain the criminal, you just commute their jail time. That's what happened with Roger Stone. And then there's pardoning. When you pardon someone, you basically make them never having been charged and convicted before. You pardoned of all charges. We all know the FBI and the DOJ did their part in hiding the true contents of Hunter Biden's laptop from hell. We all know about the Biden family money laundering. We all know, and Hunter, time and time and time, the money he made from Burisma. We know that a mysterious bag of coke showed up at the White House for the first time in the history, 248 years of the White House. Of course, nobody knows how it got there, but maybe, I don't know, drug fiend Hunter Biden? I don't know. Maybe he was a regular visitor of the White House. He was quick to wipe his hands clean. We know about the child porn allegations that are honestly too sinister to dive into. The list goes on and on. Tucker Carlson saw that laptop, saw the contents of that laptop, and he can't even talk about it on air, on television. Of course, there are crickets coming from across the aisle, the left side of the aisle right now. Notice how there weren't any of those tone-deaf rants from the corrupt corporate media about this one, huh? Well, maybe they will. Maybe they'll start to trickle out throughout the day. After all, these are the same people who passionately helped paint this president as some sort of moral overlord, Biden, simply for promising that he would not do exactly what he did to Trump and exactly what he just did.
What is before us is a president who is living the rule of law. He is living it in the most personal way. He is not pardoning his son. Which he could do. These are federal charges. Right. He is not doing that. He is not doing it because he is living what it means to have a rule of law in this country.
These clowns, they do know that the internet lives forever, right? Like those two idiots, Nicole Waltz and whoever that guy was, who said, no, he's not pardoning. Except he did. The illiterate TikTokers who shaved their heads because Donald Trump won, remember them? They had nothing to say about this. Even Biden himself had no further comments when asked about this legacy-shattering decision. Old Joe, there he is, off to Africa, spending more of our tax dollars to take yet another excursion. Speaking of our tax dollars, plenty of them were used to finally convict Hunter Biden. Millions upon millions. Just another instance of this administration showing absolutely no regard for what they do with our money. This decision by Joe Biden is truly indefensible. I have a message for both Joe and Hunter Biden. Mr. President, you're an absolute disgrace to the red, white, and blue. I know that you're a lame duck president right now for another month or so, but that doesn't permit you to take the rule of law into your own hands. Your son is a lifelong thug, and you know this decision is completely eliminating any good that you may have done during your lifetime in politics. The American people will remember you for plenty of things, none more than this. And oh, by the way, Hunter, your dad's pardon just wiped away 10 years of crime, 11 actually. But take this warning very seriously. If you even think about breaking the law under Donald Trump, you will face the wrath of a Justice Department that Daddy doesn't control anymore. It won't be the same DOJ that tried to end Trump's political career. It will be a unit that stands for justice and hands criminals exactly what they deserve. Should I tell you? His name is Kash Patel, and he's the new director of the FBI, which is the investigative wing of the Department of Justice for U.S. citizens. The FBI, headed up by Kash Patel, who's going to take no shit. So, you know what, Hunter? You've been pardoned. You got your 11 years of crime spree under you. If you go back, my friend, you can't pardon in advance. That's what you can't do as a president. So enjoy your freedom now, my friend, but toss and turn at night knowing you did absolutely nothing to deserve it. I do believe that this will also extend to Joe Biden's brother, Jim. I believe Joe will extend a pardon to Jim before he leaves office. And we saw it coming, folks, as gross as it is that he said it leading up to the election. He didn't think he was going to lose that election. Not going to pardon Hunter. I'm not. No one's above the law. He said over and over, thinking he was going to win that election. When the Democrats tossed Joe out, all bets were off. Joe said, go screw yourself. I'm pardoning everybody. So expect himself to get a pardon for anything he may or may not have done. Expect Jim to get one. Expect Jill to get one for that matter. It's the way politics is. A politician lied to you. Shocker.